We're live. Hello, everybody. I've been looking forward to this today. And of course, you see a familiar face. For some of you have seen her before, or potentially a new face to you. This is somebody that I talk about all the time on my coffee chats because I just know her as my spiritual mentor. My life would not be the same as it is now without her. So this is Tonya Melendez. She is just truly not only really my spiritual mentor, my tarot guide who has taught me how to read tarot and how to intuitively listen to those messages, which has been life-changing for me, but also has become my good friend. So I am so blessed to have her. This was a little bit of a spur of the moment decision that we had because we meet every few weeks together. She's just a pivotal part of my life at this point for how many years? 7 years now?
Yep, 7 years.
7 years now.
Lucky number 7.
I know. And we were just talking about some of her amazing offerings that are coming up, one of which is my absolute favorite every year, which is the tarot forecast. So she'll tell you a little bit more about that, but that has been something I've done for the last, I think, 4 years with you.
Yes.
And it's just been such a light in my life to have that. So we'll talk about that. And I was like, oh, it would be so fun to have you come on Friday Coffee Chat. So she is here blessing us with her presence today. Most of you are familiar with Tonya, but Tonya, if you'd like to just kind of introduce yourself for those who may not know you yet.
Oh, thank you so much, beloved Sarah, for having me here, and your beloved community. Thank you so much for joining us. And so I have one of those journeys that, like many of us, it wasn't planned, but I was following my guide. So it started with Eat, Pray, Love. I had read that book and I really felt like it was such a pivotal message for me. And at the time I was a school librarian. So I quit my job and went to yoga school. And then after that, I started studying to become a licensed spiritual counselor, and I was doing tarot readings. And so that was my life back in Chicago. And then flash forward, I stuck with it. I went back to waitressing and had been in Key West waitressing. I had 3 jobs, actually. I was a busboy in one restaurant, a hostess, and a server in 2 different restaurants in Key West. But I was holding on to my dream, and I was living at the beach, and I kept every morning on my way. I had my pink bike, my purple tires, and I would look at the ocean. I would say, I know there's something better coming. And in 2011, I get an email from a TV show in Kiev, Ukraine, and they invited me to the International Psychic Challenge, which I had never heard about even in my life. I tried to Google it, and because it's in Ukrainian, I couldn't find it. And I ended up going to Ukraine and being voted by the people there all over Europe as number 3 psychic medium in the world. And so from there, this is my path, this is my work, this is how we met, and this is what I've done now for the last 15 years. And it's even so humbling to realize that I've done this for that long, through thick and thin, through up and down, in and out, and I'm still here. And so I'm so grateful. So thank you so much. So that's been my journey, beloveds. That's the short, cute version.
I'm so glad that you found that path too. And why can I see you so perfectly? Did you say it was a pink bike with purple tires, or the other way around?
It was a pink bike with purple tires. Yes.
I can see you so well on a pink bike with purple tires living in Key West. I have a vision of that very clearly in my head.
Yes.
So we thought it would be kind of fun today to something that Tonya does every year is, she really tunes in to what predictions are for the spiritual year coming up. So we're going to talk a little bit about those predictions today. We're going to talk too about something that I know Tonya and I have talked about this, but we've talked about this on Coffee Chat before too, about how important it is for us right now, whether you're talking about your career or your personal journey, to really start to listen to your own intuition and those messages that are coming through to you, just in your own mind, those whispers that are coming through of this is my path, this is where I need to be going, or just messages of comfort that come in from your intuition. You're on the right path. You're going to be okay. And I feel like after the last few years that we've all had where things have been in such upheaval, it's so supportive to have that intuition that you can lean back on to know that you're going to be okay, to know that you're on the right path, and to listen to those places that you might need to make some shifts, because that was one of the first things that really attracted me to Tonya, which of course she knows that, is I was really struggling with that upper limit problem of every time I get to a place where I feel like I'm being successful, I sabotage myself. And you can raise your hand in the comments if you're familiar with that, because I even still do it now. That feeling of like, oh no, there's more people than ever signing up for this class, or there's too many good things coming at once. When's the other shoe going to drop? And when are things going to be taken away from me? And that feeling of not being sure that I'm worthy of where I'm going, or being scared of being successful. And everybody kept saying, well, you just need to shift your mindset. You just need to stop thinking that way. And I have never resonated with that, because I'm like, I know that mindset is important, but I can't force myself to believe something when it doesn't feel right. Like I need a different path to changing my mind. And Tonya piped into the comments and said, what you need is an energy shift. And that like opened up really the rest of my life and journey for the past 7 years. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what you meant by energy shift, just to hear it in your own words.
Yeah, thank you for that. And that's what it is, a mindset. If you even just think of the word, take it apart. I'm a librarian. You see my word walls behind me. These are my vision boards, but they're really words. And our words have so much power. And so mindset means it's locked, it's rigid, whereas energetic shift means it's coming from within you. It's a sense, it's a feeling. And most of us are numb to our feelings, because look at what's happening out there. We've had to numb it, or we'd be breaking down every 5 minutes, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And so we want to control our minds. But this isn't about our minds. This is about our energy, and our energy is everything. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transmuted and transformed. And so when we're not aligned, that means that there is energy blocked, locked, or stocked. You know what I'm saying? And we have to take it apart. And if it's been like that for years, we can't light a candle and expect it to go away overnight. We want to do a ritual. Oh, she's forgiven. I'm done with that. No, I wish it was that easy. And so we have to take apart and dissect all those pieces that have blocked the energy in order to then dissolve and resolve them, so you can shift. Because that's what most of us, and we try to force ourselves into this mindset, which is like why that law of attraction doesn't work, because people are really doing this. And I've got to tell you, beloveds, when you're thinking about something so hard, money, a relationship, whatever it is, it overheats the mind. Imagine if you left a pot of water on and you were just, again, letting it stew. You keep the fire on so it can stew for what? Hours, weeks, months. If you keep pouring in the stew, pain, sorrow, and suffering, the stew is going to just keep stewing. And so we have to get out of the stew. And that's it, because it really overheats the mind, which is why our nervous system is so shot, because this is all energy. Yeah. And we have to learn our energy, and instead of really focusing so much on our mind, because our minds need a break. Actually, this is what mental wellness is about, because our minds need a break. We need to stop thinking so much. We need to really start feeling. Yeah. And that's the intuition that we, had this conversation about. Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to say too, like, I don't think you can see all the comments that I can see, but there's just all these hands went up about the self-sabotage. So many of us feel that and see that and know it. And I would love to talk a little bit about intuition, because like Mizelle says here, and several people feel the same way, I'm the opposite right now. This year has been a struggle. So it's hard to see those positives coming. And Summer spent this afternoon crying. The dam broke, I guess. Summer, I just want to wrap you up in my love right now. You're such a beautiful member of this community. We are here for you, my sweet girl.
And can I just share really quick? Okay, so what's happening now, beloved? So let me just stop before we continue. What's happening now is you are feeling the shift of December. We've shifted into a whole new everything. The last few months have been extremely difficult for all of us. We have had 7 to 8 planets in retrograde, which mean they've been moving backwards, making us go deep, deep, deep into the darkness, the places we have not wanted to ever go, that have never been explored. And we have one more coming. And so this Mercury retrograde taking us into 2023, this is why we need to be at our most clear, healed self right now. We must prepare because next year is a spiritual year. This is why, okay, I'm going to share with you how we know it's a spiritual year. Numerologically, it is number 7. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. This year was about coming together, community. All of us have been wanting to merge and be together more. Again, right. Thank you to Melissa. Tona, the Gemini full moon. Absolutely. So the tears are definitely coming. But all of us have wanted to join, wanted to unify. Look at what's happening in Iran and around the world, right? Unity. Next year, it's going to be spiritual because we've had a lot of loss. And the opposite of chaos is balance. So the rest of us have to come into balance because, as I said, energy is everything. And if we want to see peace in the world, we must become that. And this is why there's this urging for us intuitively to be our best selves, to heal all the way down to the little tiny girl, boy who felt broken and abandoned. All of those stories must be healed now because we are moving into truly the age of Aquarius. Mm-hmm. And this age of Aquarius is about our evolution and our maturation as spiritual beings. Isn't this what people have been feeling? Haven't you been feeling this? I need to do something. I need to get more into a spiritual practice. Yeah. This is why I am so on a mission for people to really tune into your intuition because it can save your life. Imagine if you were told not to go to a certain place, and then the next day you find out that something terrible happened. Or I'll give you a perfect example. 2 quick examples. A friend of mine I know is going through a rough patch in his marriage, and his cousin, my client, is getting a divorce. And I said, you know what, please tell him I need to talk to him. He needs to either make a decision or I'm afraid she's going to get pregnant again. And he's like, oh no, I don't want that. Didn't catch me in time. He's like, oh my God, Tonya, she's pregnant. I said, I told you to get in touch with me a month ago. Another friend of mine the other day reached out, Tonya, oh my God, I'm leaving for Argentina. I cannot find my passport. What do I do? And I said, okay, Spirit, this is for real. We need to help her. She needs her passport, right? And so I just listened in. I was in her house. I walked through the door and I was like, it's here, it's here, it's here. And she was like, I know where it is. And she ran upstairs and she got it. But she had been tearing her house apart, as you can imagine, looking for her passport. And that is the clarity that we can all have. Now, do I have an extrasensory gift? I do. I'm a triple Cancer. The moon actually speaks to me sometimes. But we all have our instinct and our intuition, and we must learn how to fine tune that now more than anything, beloveds. This is the most crucial healing we can do. This is our real mental healing. Oh, I've got something for you, Salone. The 23, your 23 plan. Yes.
Yeah. Plan getting on track with your spirituality. So this is something I've been talking about for a while because I've been doing, like, I told Renee, my assistant Renee, well, operations manager, sorry, Renee, I know you're here somewhere in there. She's more than an assistant. She's like my second hand right now, third hand. But like I was just telling her, like yesterday, I hit this point where I was like, 44 days of video content and I'm finally done. And then I was like, and then I've got to go do a coffee chat, but I get to do it with Tonya. So I'm happy. But part of why I feel like I'm kind of ready to be done with video. I'm happy to be here today, but ready to be done for a few days with video content and kind of, putting this energy outward is because I too am feeling that desire to go inward and make that plan and start preparing for what's coming in 2023, like getting pumped up for it. And this is something I feel kind of towards the end of every year, but I feel it like so much more. Renee says, hello. So we have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So Ale says, triple cancer. I didn't even know that was possible.
Yes, on the cusp, new moon. So I'm a triple Cancer, July 22nd. So in the morning, I'm Cancer. By the afternoon, I'm a Leo. So beloveds, let me tell you, it makes me crazy sometimes. Let me tell you.
So Kelsey says, how do you know if it's your intuition or your anxiety, fear? And then Anna says, similar thing. How do you know it's your intuition and not just wishful thinking? So how do you really know?
Great questions. Thank you so much for asking, beloveds. How you know it's intuition, first of all, with the anxiety and fear. If you're feeling something, then you cannot hear something. So if you're feeling anxious and fearful, again, that overheats the mind. So how you calm yourself, close your eyes and start to breathe, right? If you're an essential oil, again, I'm a triple Cancer, so I love oils, herbs, and all of that. Get some peppermint oil, put it on the back of your neck, calm down and cool down the vagus nerve. That will start to soothe and heal and cool you down, because that's what happens. You start to get overheated. And if you get overheated and afraid, there's no way your intuition can come through, because it comes through here. And that's why I said, put your hands here, slow down your breathing, allowing yourself to, again, turn inward. And what you can really do then is also, beloveds, focus your inner eyes to your third eye. So you're turning your eyeballs upward and in. That way, guess where you're focusing that energy? Right on the pineal gland. And then your hands, your energy power, extenders are on your heart. And so what you're really doing is making I just got goosebumps. Mm-hmm. You're really making a divine connection. 10 of these, the anxiety will fade and you can then hear your intuition. The next question, how do you know it's wishful thinking? Well, or how do you know it's intuition or wishful thinking? Wishful thinking comes from want and lack. And, oh, good, thank you. And when it's intuition, it's truth and authenticity. Wishful thinking is, oh yeah, one of these days. Intuition is go that way. Don't wish, don't wait, don't wonder, go that way. And so, but wishful thinking, imagination, those are two different things. And so you had mentioned this just briefly earlier. So we're either listening to the imposter at all times or the intuitive. And so you need to stop and ask yourself, which voice am I listening to? Because the imposter is the hurt one, the abandoned one, the one who feels lack, the one who feels not worthy, the one who doesn't like themselves. And so that's the imposter, right? The one who does not even like you. And, we've had a few choice words for this one. And, my archetype for this one, for the imposter that shows up in my life, because of course I'm a psychic medium, imposter every day, right? But I have to trust what I am guided to share. And so that imposter gets smaller and smaller because I'm not listening to it. And then that intuitive voice can get louder and louder. But beloved, it takes practice. This is why practices that, some of the things we do, energy work, we look at your cycles, the moon, we look at so many different layers of you, because you are made of all these different layers. And we have to speak to all of them to support you in the whole. But because so many of us are fragmented, this is why, again, if we have chaos within us, starting here, and then sometimes in our stomach, right? And we might even have it in our wombs. We might have it in our back. It might be in our shoulders. It comes out wherever it comes out. But if we have that, then we're not able to receive. Remember, what is a receiver? A clear channel. And so we have to do practices that clear our channel. And that really is, again, that energy shift. So I know that was really long.
No, that's amazing. So Tijuana says, I'm a Leo sun, moon Libra, and Scorpio rising with a Cancer child. It's a wild ride.
Right, because balance and fire and water, you've got a lot going on there, sister. But you can write it. It sounds like you know yourself. This is why having like your birth chart done, your natal report, and all of these things are so important, because we don't realize our astrological, it's way more than our sun sign. It's actually more important to know about your moon sign than your sun sign, because your moon sign is your emotions, your intuition. It's the invisible world. The sun is what we see, right? It's the outer shell. But we know the invisible world. We know our emotional world. That's where the depths are. That's where the highs and the lows live.
Yeah. That's something I feel like I didn't really understand, because I'm always like, okay, I'm Aquarius, but sometimes that doesn't fully, like when I read predictions about Aquarius, I'm like, that doesn't always really, because I'm such an emotional person. I'm driven by my emotions. But when I really started to work with you and see that, okay, Pisces as a moon sign, that makes sense with the water and the flow and the emotions that come in. And then knowing that Virgo rising, I'm like, hello, planners, and like why that all speaks to me. And so I have found it to be really empowering to get to know those things about myself, because I think it makes a difference. So Wendy says, how do you find your moon sign?
How do you find your moon sign? So when you need your birth chart done, that's how you also find out your rising sign. And your rising sign is your exalted sign. And so this is why when I work with clients, the first thing I do whenever I work with clients is get their birth chart. I give a love language test, a personality test, because I want you to know more of you, and it helps me support you. And what is your love language? So I can speak to you in that language. We have to get to, like I said, know ourselves. And so getting your birth chart done is one of the most simplest ways you can find out. If you do the free ones, I'm going to tell you, beloveds, you'll get basic information. I use actually the Astrograph professional software, because I believe in the magic of what we can discover. Most people don't know we have a special cycle once a year that is what's called our Lunafesting power cycle. We have a power day. We have a moon phase. There is so much hidden in our birth chart and natal report. And again, why is this not advertised? Why is this not told to us? We're only given the sun sign because we are taught to feed our egos, not to listen to our intuition. Think about what are we taught in school? Be reasonable, be logical. Oh, don't be so, one of those, just like before the last 5 years talking about tarot. Oh, you're one of those woo woo. Yeah. Now you don't even have to say the word woo woo anymore, because it's like nobody even says woo woo anymore, because everybody's got tarot. Little kids, there's tarot in Target. You know what I'm saying? And so do you see how much we've evolved in this age of Aquarius, that we don't even have to say woo woo anymore? People can say, oh, I have a spiritual advisor. Oh, I'm going to get my crystals. And nobody even, but 5 years ago, oh, you're one of those. Remember how we used to hide? We used to have to hide our magic.
Yeah. And I think that more people are understanding too, that it's not like, it always, I think it felt for a lot of people like if you're Christian, then you can't like these things because these things are other, or they're against God or against the church. But I just see them flow so well together, because it's all spiritual. It's all, connecting with that higher power and connecting with that part, that's what Holy Spirit is, right? That part inside you, inside each of us. And so one of the things too that I love about this community is that even if we have people that are here that don't necessarily read tarot cards, or they don't necessarily believe some of the same things I believe, it's such an open-minded community where people are still able to listen and appreciate, and then take what works for them and leave the rest and find their own path to spirituality. And that really, really means a lot to me, because for a long time, Tijuana knows this, I was nervous to share that side, even though I write about witches and things. That's a fantasy world, but it's difficult to come on YouTube and kind of share like, these are sort of my beliefs is on a spiritual level, because it can be a very vulnerable thing. But I love that it is becoming something that is more accepted, that we're able to say, okay, that might not be what I believe, but I'm learning from you, or I'm still, able to appreciate what you believe. And then a lot of people who might have not been able to see this as a resource for themselves are now able to see it as a resource, which I think is beautiful, because I think it can be so beautiful to have those tools, the tools of connecting with yourself, connecting with that inner voice. And it's okay if you call it, God or universe, or, whatever it is that it means to you, can be a very personal spiritual practice. So I really love that. Katrina says, I always get dismissed or treated like I'm wrong because I'm a Christian, but I love reading tarot.
Well, then you're hanging around with the wrong people, Katrina. Beloved, get with us. I remember, Sarah, when you were really struggling with this, because you didn't want people to judge you, in this regard. This is all spirit, Think about one of the biggest attractions in the world is Egypt. Is that not a spiritual journey? Everybody goes to Egypt. It's a spiritual journey. And it doesn't matter from where you are. People from Ireland to Africa go to Egypt, or Egypt isn't Africa, but you know what I'm saying, for a spiritual pilgrimage, because it's a language, it's an energy that we can feel. Yes. It has nothing to do with any, we all feel a different connection to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And so we must acknowledge that if we can all go to Egypt and have our own spiritual journey, then isn't that universal? And that's what you have here in this community. I love that it's so, inclusive and diverse. And this is why I love us doing this as well. So people do see that, doing this deeper work doesn't have to be, spooky, scary. This is really emotional healing, wellness, mental health work. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot more to it than that. And the astrology and our personality and our love language, these are tools that support us. Again, why would they keep it from us? Yeah, right. Okay, I love that. You know what I'm saying? And more power to you. And we have to support each other more. And this is, again, what we learned this year. And so moving into the 7 year, which 7 we know is spiritual. And how you know this to be true, beloveds, think about it this way. Don't they say the body renews itself every 7 years? Again, if the body can renew itself every 7 years, and we go in cycles of 7, so we know entering right now, we're about to go in a cycle, and we're going in a Mercury retrograde. So this is why doing work now, we've only got 2 more weeks, beloveds. We've only got 2 more weeks before we start to really feel the shadow. Have you already been getting some tech glitches?
Listen,
anybody? Yes, tech glitches already.
Tonya and I already saw, just trying to get on to our call on Wednesday, there was already a tech glitch. And then I didn't even tell you this, but today I sat down and made a special thumbnail that had your picture and my picture. Canva would not download it. I went to every computer, I went to my phone, would not download. I was like, what is happening? I have never had that problem. Cheryl says, I've definitely been getting them too. It is so true. It's so true. Oh yeah, that's right. Melissa, this is Melissa. She's one of our admins in our Heart Breathing's writing community. And I just adore Melissa. Had to get a whole new computer recently. So yeah,
it's coming.
Gets them all the time.
It's coming, beloveds. It's coming. Yeah. And I saw that, many of us, we get afraid of Mercury retrograde. And I've got to tell you, because we've got the Gemini new moon or Gemini full moon coming and Mercury retrograde, Mercury is ruled by Gemini. So it's compounded, beloveds. So 1 foot in the door spiritually, but unsure of what that truly is. Again, your intuition, beloved, is your higher self. So if you want to call that spirit, if you want to call that whatever you want to call it, you don't even have to say it anything. You could say it's the voice from above, or you could say it's my inner child, whatever you want to call it. Follow that voice. It doesn't need a label. It does not need a label because it is your exalted self. This is why, again, having tools like tarot, because I believe that tarot really is a self-initiation tool. It was created as a daily initiation, because every day we wake up as new, beloveds, and every day we pick new cards. We know we're going to experience something, but those cards tell us this is what's coming through your energy that you don't see. And that's what the tarot is. It is your energy imprint coming out through these 78 cards, which you can't put down. Yeah. And, I love that you said this too here, being taught Native beliefs, especially as a Black woman, as a woman of color, our spiritual practices coming from the African diaspora have always been demonized, and this is why I really talk about decolonizing spirituality. But my podcast is coming out soon, and I just did an episode about decolonizing tarot, because, these are sacred tools. They are universal. Like I said, if we all go to the Egyptian pyramids, we're all going to have a different spiritual experience, but it will be a spiritual experience regardless. And so we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Remember, beloveds, we are descendants of women who were burned at the stake. We are their descendants. They are guiding us. They went through that so we could have this. So we must, if they went through that so we could have this, that means that we have to be the brave ones. We have to be like the Joan of Arcs. We have to be willing to go, if our sisters, our ancestors, I call them, our ancestors were willing to go through that, and we came back in. And let me share this with you. During the time that Chiron, the wounded healer planet, was discovered, most people don't recognize that if you were born from 1977 and beyond, because Chiron was discovered, beloveds, on 11/1/77. 1977. So Chiron became a planet on November 1st, 1977. So we know that was a highly spiritual year. But the Chiron, the wounded healer, we are all those wounded healers, which is meaning we have to heal those wounds. That doesn't mean we take that into the next life. That means in this life cycle, we are meant to be the wounded healer. That means the wounds heal. Mm-hmm. This is why we've had to come back now and be spiritually strong, because our sisters were not able to. Our ancestors and men weren't able to. If we thought we had it bad a couple of years ago, but now look at everybody's got tarot even in the stores. Do you know what I'm saying? So look at how much we've already advanced our ancestry, and look at how we're doing that with our children. Our children now are going to grow up with crystals and tarot cards and knowing the gift that I got my beloved Evie, Sarah's beloved daughter. The first thing I told on her birthday, I was like, give me the time. First thing I did was get her a beautiful gift of her astrological chart. And why did I do that? Because I want her to know how powerful she is. From the moment that she was born, I want her to know that her TT was watching out for her in her astrological chart, because that is truly so how she will know.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I know,
It's framed, beautifully framed, and it's up in her room right now. So thank you again for that beautiful gift. One question from Envy is, this may sound dumb. You don't have to start anything with that because you're among friends here. But with knowing that Mercury retrograde is coming, how do we prepare for success and progress?
Oh, thank you, beloved Envy. I'm so glad you asked, because this is one of the things that Sarah was talking about. I would love to share with you the Star Powered Tarot Forecast. How you get prepared is, first, do you know your word of the year for 2023? Second, stop thinking about it. Like I said, don't overheat your mind. What are you being guided to? And that's why I offer the Star Powered Tarot Forecast, so you can see and know. So in that, the star part, you're going to get your birth chart and natal report, right? I'll give you that. And then I'll give you a tarot forecast for the first 6 months of 2023. And then there'll be some bonuses. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want people to be prepared, because we've been in some very chaotic times, and it's time for us to move into intuitive times, which is why it's star powered. So, cosmically, also you get your transit report. So you'll know even in the stars, what's coming up for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's how we can get prepared. We don't have to get prepared here mentally, beloveds. No, we need to look at the stars like our ancestors did. They looked at the stars and the moon and said, oh, I think we need to move, or, oh, I think something is shifting. They didn't have TV. They didn't have social media. They read the stars. And so if we start doing the same, are we not coming back into our higher self? Because that we know that energy comes from above us. And that's why it's so important for us to root in. This is why I love aromatherapy and these tools, because they help us root in instead of where, what. We're going in. And that's what the spiritual is for us.
So let me tell y'all too, this is so, it is, when I tell you that Tonya has a gift, it is so true. Unlike anyone I've ever met in my life. Like one of the first things when I first, we could go deep into all the things that she's predicted that have been such a comfort for me. But also like when we first met, she said, well, you're going to have another child and it'll be a little girl. And I said, well, George says no. George says no more kids. He was so adamant against it. And Tonya was like, don't worry about it, beloved, because when the time is right, he will be the one to suggest it. And she was so right. Like 2 years later, he was like, you know what? I do kind of want another child. And sure enough, she was a little girl. And as I was going in to get my like sonogram or whatever they call it to find out if it was a boy or a girl, I was so nervous, even though like that intuition was like, okay, I'm going to have a little girl. I'm going to have a little girl. Tonya texts me all the way from Mexico and is like, what is going on with you today? Because I can feel your nervousness all the way from here. You've been popping into my head. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm literally she texted me. I was literally in the car about to go to this appointment. And she said, stop thinking about it because you already know it's a girl. And when we went in there, first thing, you're having a little girl. And I just started sobbing because I knew it already, but sometimes it can be hard to trust your own intuition. But this talking about the star powered tarot forecast is when, like 2020, when we did that at the end of the year, we already had a contract on our house in Charleston. And as Tonya's reading my tarot for each month of the year, she came across this August, September timeline when we were supposed to be, we thought we were moving into the house around June, but Tonya was like, I don't think that's going to happen. And then as we got into later months, you pulled, I think it was is it 6 of Cups or 5 of Cups? Maybe it was the 5 of Cups. I'm trying to think through it's the 5 of Cups, right? Where she's sitting there and
yes.
She pulls the 5 of Cups and she was like, this is going to be like a loss. You know, it's going to feel like you're a loss, but you're moving away from this. Or maybe it was 6 of Cups. And I was like, oh my gosh, how is this going to be that we're going to be moving away from Charleston? But Tonya could see that. She was like, something is not going to work out right with this house. And I was able to kind of emotionally get myself prepared for this possibility that this house is not going to work out the way that I thought it was, even months ahead of time. And you guys know I have this strange relationship with my sister, with my mother. And when I was working out one day and suddenly thought, oh my gosh, the house numbers 1113 is my mom's birthday. So I texted Tonya, what does this mean? And you were like, something's not going to work out with this house. And that was 4 or 5 months before we even found out. So for me, that forecast has not only been getting to know myself better, but it's also kind of knowing and being able to prepare myself. And it's that faith that, okay, there are these good things coming. There is this, groundedness that comes along with that sort of knowledge. And it's just incredible. So if you have the opportunity to do it, I highly recommend. In the description box of today's video, I put a few links of Tonya's for you. One is that star powered tarot forecast. And I think this sells out every year. So make sure that you sign up as soon as you can, because I think those bonuses, right, are only for a limited time as well.
Yes.
So highly recommend you sign up for that if you have the resources for it. But then I put a couple other things there that are working with Tonya a little bit more intimately, which is something that I do, like meeting with her every month, having that sort of mentoring. I cannot even tell you, if you're feeling right now that you're looking for somebody that can help guide you on that spiritual path that isn't going, it's kind of like therapy in a way, but it's deep into that spiritual path of like, where am I meant to be going? And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about what you do in that one-on-one mentoring, but that has changed my life personally to work with you on that deeper level of meeting with you regularly. So if you want to talk about that a little bit, there's a link to that as well for people.
Yeah, and so thank you again for sharing the ways that people can work with me. So, there is the Plan and Prosper. I know, I forget, I think it was our Envy who asked about work, planning. And so the Plan and Prosper, that really goes in at a deeper level of working with you, having a VIP day where we really dive in and plan out everything like we did the other day. We had a 6 Sense strategy call. So if you have a small business or if you're an author and you really want to plan out with the cosmos, that's what that is about. But doing that deeper work with me, that one-on-one, that really is, if you're ready to really to be coached and to be healed, this is that deeper work. And that is the crystallize. And I didn't share that link with you, but that is, if you're interested in that, you could send me an email. But also I have a 12-month intuitive mentoring where you get to work with me every single month in a group setting where we really learn from each other. That way you learn how to use tarot, aromatherapy, you'll learn even feng shui a little bit, because beloveds, believe you me, energy is everything. Like right now, I'm sitting in my wealth corner, right? I'm talking to Sarah in my best way. She's sitting in her right place because we've done virtual feng shui as well. You see, I have my crystals behind me. I've got my word wall. All of this has meaning. And so I support you with that and teaching you over a year. Because like I said, if we could all be psychic like that, I would give us a bottle to drink. I would put it in a bottle and sell it. But this is how you can really become that true intuitive you. If you dedicate yourself to 365 days, I know that your intuition will absolutely change, because we are intuitive beings. We just have been taught and conditioned to be logical and reasonable. And so this is an untraining. So I talk about epigenetics. I talk about neuroplasticity. Dr. Joe Dispenza is one of my homies. I swear, I love him to death. I am also a librarian. So I'm always recommending books. I love working with authors. Yes, I use the 16 personalities test. I also have the professional license for that. That's how much I believe in these tools, beloveds, that I, invested in myself so I can share them with you. And they're tools that I use. I'm into astro mapping. If you want to find out if you're in the right place, you know what I'm saying? I love the astro map. I call myself an amateur astrologer, but I know I have intuitive astrology within me. So you were born under a waxing crescent. So what does that mean? So that means that you were born when the moon is actually growing. And so this is probably your time. I think we might be, I don't know, my phone, we might be in a waxing crescent right now. So this might be your prime time. If I didn't look at all of my notes today, no, we're in a waxing gibbous. So almost, so this is like your prime time. And so once we start knowing what that means, and so what that means is your energy now is at its peak. But don't you want to know what more of that is? And this is why I have these different offerings, because if I could tell you everything in one sitting, it would take us 5 hours, and nobody has all that time.
Tonya and I, we've been working together for, I think it's about 7 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. But my life changed within 6 months, significantly, of working with you, really almost from the very first night. Was like opening my whole mind to new things. So if you have the availability, whether it can be just the star forecast or the membership or even the one-on-one deeper, I cannot recommend it to you guys enough. So Do you want to share with us any of your predictions that you have for
Yes, yes, yes,
2023?
yes, yes, beloved. So every
It's
single
always so
year,
interesting to me.
I tune into spirit and say, what am I meant to share this year? And um, one of the biggest things, and this is what we've been talking about, because as I just shared, we're moving into a highly spiritual year. So one of the biggest predictions, beloved, is going to be increased psychic phenomenon. Have you been hearing different talks now about the Bermuda Triangle again? Have you been hearing it in the news about the Bermuda Triangle? Psychic phenomenon, it is coming. How many different things have been coming out of from under the depths of the ocean? More psychic phenomenon is occurring, beloved. So this is because there is a sense of awakening, and because there is a experience happening on the other side of the planet that it is really disturbing to Mother Earth and to us. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, again, I'm very sensitive to this topic. We have to start to really center ourselves. And this sense of psychic energy is also from all the people whose lives have been lost. And since many of us are connected to people whose lives are being lost, spirits are starting to speak. I had a woman reach out to me just the other day, a friend of mine, and she lost one of her twins. And her little boy, who was the other twin who survived, started talking to his sister. And she was like, who are you talking to? And he's only like 2.5. And he's like, my sister is here. And she's like, how did you know? And she's like, Tonya, I swear there's a little girl running around. And I was like, absolutely there is. Do you know what I'm saying? So more of this type of psychic phenomenon is happening. Number 2, our spiritual individualization. This is what we were talking about. Our sense of recognizing that spirit has nothing to do with religiosity, nothing. We have our own church right in our house. Get yourself feng shui, an altar, some salt, a candle, and a crystal, and you're at church, okay? So allow yourself to be more self-governing. This is why self-realization, self-actualization is so important, because in the next 2 generations, if our children aren't awake, this planet is not going to make it, because look what has happened, right? And I'm not talking about climate and all of that. No, we are literally destroying the planet. Look at how we've displaced animals. I'm not talking even about our cars and food and all of that. Look at the animals. Look at the water. We have to do better. Or what are our children? What if we're having water issues now? What are our kids going to drink? Right? So this is why cleansing ourselves, being spiritually pure. Also, we're seeing it. The breakdown of government, the breakdown of borders, the breakdown of currency and citizenship. We're all global citizens. There is no borders anymore except in our minds. And it's, again, up to us with our our spiritual individualization and increased intuition, that we can see a change. Because remember, beloveds, as I said it before at the beginning, chaos is the opposite of balance. So we must come into balance. The age of Aquarius is about waves. And we're in a wave now where we're going up. Again, 7, a spiritual number. And so there's also going to be a wave of backlash against technology. Who's feeling it? I'm already feeling it. Like, social media is going to be totally changing because we're wanting to connect more to each other. Luckily, Zoom and virtual life has completely opened again, and opened all of our borders and opened all of our eyes. But we're all going to want to, again, if we're so intuitive, we can be telepathic. Just like how Sarah and I, if she needs me, I can feel her and she'll know right away that I'm supporting her right now, because we all have that type of connection. Again, but because we're so distracted and we're so not connected to our inner self, we don't know that. So again, that goes back to the increased psychic phenomenon. And then lastly, or 2 more, authenticity is going to be the new currency of the golden age, beloveds. We are moving into what is called the golden age. And just sit with that. Just close your eyes. Breathe that in. We're moving into a golden age. What image comes to your mind? What sense comes to your mind? What does that make you think, feel? What vision truly comes? So take a deep breath, open your eyes. That, beloveds, is the golden age. We're moving into that, right? And so being your authentic self is the only way that we can do that. And this is why you see me a lot in the videos. I always close my eyes, because when my eyes are closed, I'm not looking out, I'm not projecting, I'm in and I'm listening. So authenticity is the new currency. And then I shared this a little bit earlier, there is going to be more illness, because we have to be mindful of the food. We have to be mindful of everything we drink, everything we eat. What we consume consumes us, beloveds. And we are really the ones in control of every choice we make. And so more illness is really about our choices. It's really about our choices. And so this is why with more illness, there's going to be more healers. So we've got to be the one. Somebody's got to be the healer, and somebody's got to be the one who needs to be healed. And so decide which side you want to be on. Do you want to be on the I need to be healed side? Are you stepping into your I'm a healer side? Mm-hmm. And why this also is discernment. This is, again, going back to why we need to be our most intuitive self. How do you pick a word for the year? Oh, great question. So let me finish with this one. So discernment is really, really getting in connection to yourself. Like, if we don't know ourselves, beloveds, how can we do anything? This is why, again, I offer you all these different tools so you can get to know yourself better, because many of us don't realize that we don't know ourselves. And this is what this golden age is. That's what authenticity is. And so how you choose a word for the year, again, same thing. You know, place your hand on your heart, place one on your third eye. And I always like to, as I said, I close my eyes and I focus my energy right here to my third eye. And what do I need to know? What are you trying to tell me? Reveal to me what I need to see. These are some of the things that I say all the time, because if don't tell me what I need to know. No, reveal to me, because we're all going to hear it and get a symbol, a song, email, something is going to come, but we're all going to hear things differently. And so this is why we've got to know ourselves, so we'll know what that means.
Yeah. Sometimes it might be, I feel like when I hear people talk about how they discovered their word of the year, sometimes it's like Dee Dee said she heard the word joyful and was felt called to it. And then she's heard me say it or seen it in other pieces where it's like just being reaffirmed over and over and over again. Sometimes it's just talking through and then being like, something gives you goosebumps or something makes you feel a certain way. Like we were just talking on Wednesday and the word faith came up and it was like, oh, maybe that's my word for 2023. I haven't quite settled on a word, but I think once you start allowing yourself to think about it, you'll start to hear the word. It'll start to come and you'll feel it. I also love that Melissa said, I found my voice by running live writing sprints and found that people like me for my authentic self. And I think that, you know, this is the thing about social media, is that for years, we have really cultivated influencers who, you know, are beautiful to watch, beautiful to look at, but you never see a messy house. You see the beautiful, you know, perfectly pottery barn house or whatever it is and everything. And I still follow lots of people like that. Like I love to watch it because it's beautiful and I love to see their lives. But I knew intuitively, if I was going to be on social media, on YouTube, I was going to need to share my authentic self, which is sometimes afraid and sometimes has anxiety and sometimes is a mess and sometimes doesn't have all the answers. And that is a vulnerable place to be. But at the same time, it helps to let people know that they're not alone, because none of us are perfect, right? We're all on this journey together. And I feel like the more we can share our authentic selves, the more not only we can be reaffirmed, like Melissa, that we are worthy just as we are, but also we can let people know you're okay as you are. And the more we can begin to accept each other for exactly who we are without judgment, the more we begin to heal each other and ourselves.
Absolutely. And that is a part of the work. And so I'm going to share one last bonus with you, and two, actually. I love that word, embody. I'm going to share with everyone my word that I know. And I said, no, I'm meant to share this. The first word is evolutionary. So put whatever word you choose, put evolutionary in front of it first. So for you, beloved, if faith is your word, put evolutionary faith, right? Whatever it is, put evolutionary in front of it. Because the next one, the bonus one I want to share with you, and this is why, again, I'm so on a mission to just empower people to know their intuitive selves, because I don't want to just read cards for you. I want you to be able to read the room. Wherever you go, I want you to be able to, nope, this is not the place for me. Oh, that's not the food I should eat today. I want us all to be such beaming, radiant lights that we are positive, because nothing negative can come to us. And that's what intuition does. And so this bonus one I want to share with you is that the invisible world will become more visible. And what I mean by that, as I shared with you a moment ago, more spirit sightings. There will be more spirit sightings because we are losing a lot of people. Think about it, beloveds. You know, they just said there's 8 billion people on the planet. There's going to be, again, a sense of balancing. There is this, again, this illnesses sweeping through the world. There is loss sweeping through the world. The healers have to come through. And healers come through, beloved, through being healed. A healer is not someone, oh, I'm a healer. No, a healer is my beloved Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, rest in power, brother. He said a healer is someone who's been through some shit. You know, you don't just become a healer. Oh, yeah, I'm a healer. No, you've gone through some things, like a leader. A leader goes through the darkness first, right? Yes, I love it, Mary. And evolutionary healing. Claim it, sister. Claim it. And so that's who we have to recognize. So spirit sightings, otherworldly. Aren't we attracted to these type of things, right? How many of you watched the show on Netflix, the Surviving Death? How many?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
No,
haven't seen
right
it? Oh, you have to watch it. Surviving Death, and it's about stories of people who survived death, and there's stories of people of reincarnation and so many other things. And so, beloveds, oh, that's another thing I have to tell you. When we do work together, I don't look at you just and say, oh, here. I look at your past lives. Sarah and I have done some deep spirit, past lives. I look at your Akashic records. I look at all the things that I can access. As much as I can access for you, I will, because that is a part of my gift, and I am meant to share it. I am meant to share it. So thank you for allowing me to share it with you, beloved.
Oh, I'm so glad. I hate that we're running out of
I
time.
know.
I feel like I could talk to you forever. This has been such a good conversation. I love it. This community is so wonderfully like open and supportive and beautiful. And it truly has been, like, when I think about gratitude, I'm so grateful for this community. And Tonya, I'm always so grateful for you and for the changes that you have made in my life and the support that you have given to me over the years. I know without a doubt I would not be where I am if it wasn't for you and your gifts, your friendship, and your support. So publicly, I want to put that out there, how much you have meant to me and my whole family, honestly. Just truly. And now I've seen so many people saying in the comments, like, I feel so blessed to be here for this conversation. So thank you for being here and blessing us with your
Yes. So let me just share one last quick thing with you. I want to share a card for everybody. And then two, if I love my bibliotherapy. So if you need a book, I am a librarian. So let me help you out with that too, because we learn differently, and that's why sharing books is so intimate. So I'm using the Light Seers. Sarah knows this is so everybody just take a collective deep breath, and we're just going to ask, what do we need to know right here, right now? What is Spirit asking us to know on this day? And today, I should tell you, beloveds, is 12/2/2022. So you see all those twos in there? There's a lot of twos in there. So let's see. And one more, I'm being guided. Mm. Ooh, change is coming, beloved. So I'm not looking, I'm just picking. And here we go. Two of Cups.
You
Look
just
at
said
that.
all the twos.
Yeah, I just said all the twos. And
I
here's
said,
another
when you
one.
said it, I said in my mind, she's going to draw two. I know she is.
And look at that. We get the Two of Cups. And I love this because this is really almost like me and you, right? It's the Two of Cups. It's us coming together, you bringing your magic and your genius with my gifts and my gifts with your genius. And this is how we keep each other going. This is what love is. We are each other's real internet. That's what I really sense. And so that's what this card is that we are each other's internet. We are each other's support. And we've needed this. We felt isolated, and it's time for us to all come back together. So I really love this. So thank you for being here, beloveds. Thank you so much for, again, inviting me. And I really hope to get to work with some of you and all of you, as many as I can, because I want us all to really plan and prosper. And I want us all to be divine channels, because we are.
I'm doing the Plan and Prosper. Is that next week, or that's coming in January? No, we're doing the tarot forecast next week.
Yes,
I can't wait to tell you guys.
Yeah. The tarot forecast is next week. Yes.
But yeah, the Plan and Prosper that she told us about, you guys, the tarot reading, the group, the membership, all of that is down below. If you want to work with Tonya on a more intimate level, one-on-ones, you can send her an email. And of course, even if you aren't able to work with her right now, I highly recommend that you follow her on Instagram. So it's is it The Black Psychic Librarian?
Yes, The Black Psychic Librarian. And I also have a YouTube channel as well. So I'm always posting there. And please check your December intuitive astrology. I just posted those. You get your word for the month, your message for the month. Like I said, I love astrology. So it's there on my YouTube for you too.
I did not put those links down below.
It's okay. I'm totally sorry. I forgot to tell you.
No, that's fine. I forgot to put them down there, but thank you for being here. Thank you guys all for being here on Friday Coffee Chat. I will share too that my 30 days of NaNoWriMo, you guys, I know many of you were following along every day, but I officially finished writing 50,000 words of The Disappearance of Vanessa Shaw. And I got my iPad. This was my big reward, was a 12.9 inch iPad. And I have this little sneak peek of this little demons sticker here that everybody who ordered signed books is going to get one of these little stickers. And the signed books are going to start going out on Monday. So as soon as yours is signed and ready to go, you will get a notification, and they're coming. So a lot of you will start to get them next week if you're here in the US, and probably in a couple weeks if you're overseas. So I will keep you guys updated. But that is it for our time. Thank you again, Tonya, for being here. I just love you so much.
Thank you. And I love you so much too. And I love this community. I remember when it was a tiny little seed, and now I'm so excited for you, beloved. Thank you again.
All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday. I will see you guys next week. All my love to you. Bye for now. Oh, and somebody was saying packing video, please. I will still keep you guys updated. I probably will only do one video because I don't know for sure that I'm going to be able to focus on writing names and personalizing stuff while also doing a live stream. But I have another idea for you guys that's going to be a bit of a surprise. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Bye. And thank you, and blessings to everyone. Love you guys.